Hi guys, and happy Wednesday is officially your favorite day of the week because the Hot Seat with Priscilla is live here in real time at social media shows. Every week I bring you the best of the best here in Las Vegas and sometimes beyond, and we get to have them sit here and talk about their story and why they do what we do. Now, it always goes from so many different ranges of professions here in the city. We don't only have film. I know that recently we've had a lot of film producers, filmmakers, actors, things as such, but it also can be anyone from politicians to nonprofit organization owners to business owners, entrepreneurs, people who just have a story who want to inspire others and sit here and tell them why you should never give up. Basically, as time goes on, we always have a theme for each show depending on the guests that are here, and today obviously is going to be nothing short of amazing. We have some great people. Again, film is going to be kind of involved in this one, but you should not look away. I want you to grab your drinks, you should grab your lunch, grab all those things like I always say every single week, and make sure to tune right back in after the break because we are going to jump right into an amazing, amazing guest, and I cannot wait for her to tell you her story and all of the things that inspire her to keep her going every single day. So, as always, I am your host, Priscilla Moy, and I will see you right after this very quick break, so don't go anywhere.
What affects your credit? The answer can be many things. Let's take a look at a few of the most common factors and how they can impact your credit. Credit history. In order to have a credit score, you need to have open and active credit accounts. This gives you the opportunity to build a credit score and get approved for larger purchases such as a car or a home. So it's important to have a responsible record of debt repayment. Available credit and usage. The rule of thumb is to use 30% of your available credit to minimize the impact of debt on your credit score. In other words, the less credit you use, the better. Monthly on-time payments. By making sure your monthly payments are paid on time, you could boost your credit score. Late payments, however, may bring your score down. Errors on your credit report. Check your credit report regularly to make sure it's accurate. If there are any errors or signs of identity theft, report them immediately to the appropriate credit bureau. Applications for credit. If you're applying for credit, filling out several applications in a short amount of time may hurt your credit score. It's ideal to keep the applications to a minimum. However, there is an allowable shopping window for a mortgage. Remember, a good credit score could possibly save you in interest payments. If your credit score needs some improvement, however, consider starting with the basics mentioned here. And when you're ready to buy your dream home, give New American Funding a call. We'll help you find a home loan that works for you and your unique situation.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host Priscilla Moy, and we are live in real time here at social media shows in studio. So we are going to jump right into our first guest. Now, as a woman, I am always driven by watching other powerful women live their dreams, motivate others, and kind of motivate even themselves as each day goes on. And we are going to be nothing short of that with our next guest. She is a executive protection agent. She's a martial artist along with an actress, and she also just coaches people. She has gone through the ringer, but she is here to talk about her story and why she is doing what she's doing and why she is who she is today. So everyone, please welcome Traci Lynn Cowan. Thank you so much for coming on. You look so amazing. Please take a seat on the hot seat. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic.
Yes.
I'm in Las Vegas.
Exactly.
Of course
Your
I'm good.
sun-kissed. It's great. We're wearing our summer colors. We're matching. Amazing. So thank you for coming first and foremost. I know you're not, new to social media shows. You're kind of done a couple shows since you've been in Las Vegas for a little bit, which is great. So there you don't have that little nervousness sitting here in the seat. But let's just start with you. You do so many different things. You also sit in my seat. You also are a host, so that's what makes this so much easier because you got to know how this goes. But you originally are from Canada, right? British Columbia.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your start and how you kind of paved the way for each of the things that you do.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. And yes, it's so good to be here, and it's nice to meet you. And I am from Vancouver, BC, Canada. I was born and raised there, and I've been in, LA for almost 10 years now. And I have done a lot of stuff. So basically what I do now is a direct reflection of what I went through. So as a young girl, as a child, unfortunately, I was subjected to a lot of abuse and a lot of trauma and a lot of neglect and abandonment. And I really, I made a lot of poor choices. I fell into addictions. I fell into eating disorders. I fell into mental health. I fell into a lot of things that I shouldn't have. I didn't want to, but I did. And now that I look back and I reflect on it, it's really defined me as a woman. And I'm able to do what I do because of my experiences. So obviously, as grueling as they were, and some things that you never want to be subjected to, especially as a young girl or as a young adolescent or even as an adult woman now today. So I just took everything that I had, and it was either die or live and thrive. And I chose to live and thrive because I didn't really have any choice, and I had to be strong. And I was a single mom, and I had a son at a young age, and I really wanted to be that example for my son, and he really gave me that strength to not give up. Because there were times where I was suicidal, and I did try to take my life on numerous occasions. And I thought about my son, Cody. And so he saved my life, really, when I look back at it. And I'm so blessed. People always ask me, they're like, why do you do so many things? And what is there anything you don't do? And it's kind of like, well, why do you do so little? Or why are we not excelling ourselves? Why are we not pushing ourselves to limit? Because I have the capacity, I have the ability, I have the energy, and I have what it takes to do all these things. So I kind of am a free spirit now. So because I was so tormented by so many things in my life, it was just like, I want this freedom. I mean, I even wear butterflies, and I love birds, and I love freedom. Because again, when you're stuck in this place and locked into this like hostage situation your whole life, when you're finally free and you can get into this free spirit in this place of your life, it's like, why not do all this stuff?
Exactly, and free for you. You know, a lot of people are just like, well, you've been doing it for some time, but I think what I'm getting from you is finding that peace for yourself, that happiness, why you're doing what you're doing. What motivates you is your son. You know, there was always that underlining thing where I'm living for someone else. Like, how can I be someone that he can look up to and be proud of?
Exactly. And that is really it. And now that I've gotten into this stage of my life, and now it's like, I want other people to be proud of me too. And I want to be, and I am proud of myself, because it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of will. It takes a strong spirit, and it takes a fight to get to where I am. And so I am proud of that. And I want to make other people proud, as in that spirit of hope, faith, and letting them know, like, I did it and you can do it too, because there's so many people in such desperate places like I was. And you can't just say to people, it's okay, go ahead, you can do this, you can do this, rah, 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 you know, get up and you'll be okay, you know. And I've had people do that. And when you're in a mental health situation and you're in adversity like you've never known before, and people are telling you just to get up and just, you know, kind of dust yourself off, it's like, that's not the way it works. And those aren't really, really good, valuable things to be saying to people. And as a trauma and transformation coach, I learned it's okay to not be okay, and allow people to be in the space that they're in, and just nurture them where they're at. And meet them where they're at, because I can't tell you to get up and not drink every day of your life. Not you, I'm just speaking of clients or people that I know. And I can't tell people to get off drugs, or I can't tell people not to have bulimia or anorexia. And I can't do all these things, but I can encourage them. And that's what I come back to, talking about being proud, going, okay, well, this woman has been through so much, and I'm so proud that she got through it. And now I can look up, she's an example, and I do have that hope a little bit. If there's like a grain of hope in somebody, and that will to fight, to live, then I'm doing my job because this is my purpose to be here.
Right.
And that's what I always knew. And, you know, I'm a big believer of God, and I'm a big believer of the universe and just being laws of attraction and things like that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what do you want your life to be like? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be admired by people? How do you want to live when you get up every day? Like, make that decision, because we do have that power of choice every single day.
Yeah, and I think it always comes down to the person and what their core want and need and purpose is.
Yeah.
And I think you touch base to a lot of things, and I tell people this all the time, is that people want to be seen, they want to be understood.
Yeah.
And when they feel like you will never know what it's like to be them,
Yeah.
they're in a state where they can't even open their mind knowing that you have their best interest in mind, right?
Absolutely.
So sometimes it's not even telling them what to do, it's just listening.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, how are you doing? Tell me about you, right?
Yeah.
And like, okay, so where do you want to be? And slowly when they open up and they feel like, oh my God, someone's not, you know, looking down on me, treating me like a victim that I feel like I am, I feel like, oh my gosh, okay, so you get it. So that means I can do it because you were here, you know?
Yeah.
It might not be the same, but you kind of understand the feeling, right? It's all about the emotions and what our mind does, no matter who you are, no matter what place in life you are. No one is better than the other. It's just kind of always getting down eye to eye and being like, okay, just tell me about yourself.
Yeah, and it's that human kindness, because look what's going on in the world right now. There's hate crimes, there's people just walking by people and slashing them for no reason and killing people and all these murders and such just terrible things going on in society right now. And so not only do I teach people how to protect themselves and self-awareness and all these and self-defense and everything, but it's also protecting our minds and protecting what we're hearing, what information are we allowing into our minds, our subconscious, what's going on in the background, what are we watching. People always ask me too, I had this conversation the other night, it's like, what are you watching on TV? And no offense to anybody that watches TV or you are liking that, but I am so protective of what goes on and goes into my mind, because whatever I'm feeding myself, it's like if I ate McDonald's, but I'm just going to say it. If I ate terrible food all day long, I am not going to have a good output in my life. It's going to affect every area of my life, relationships, health, and everything. And so it's the same thing. What are you feeding your brains? What are you feeding your mind? So if I'm surrounded by unhealthy people, or if I'm watching murder shows on the TV and then going to bed, what do you think is going to happen?
Exactly.
We're going to be affected by this because we are being polluted by all these sources. So protect your energy, protect your spirit, protect your mind, protect your body, just as you would, you know, protecting your family and your loved ones.
Boundaries are very important. And they're, you know, it's for you to set them. Some people are open to things and doesn't affect them that way, and some people can't. You know, so it's always for the person. And boundaries are okay. We're used to a society that everyone's like, no, you should be accessible. What does it matter? Don't think too much into it. And you're like, well, to me, it does, because I just, like you have a different experience with life. So let's get into your martial arts. So I know you've been involved with Martial Arts Hall of Fame. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And is that kind of where you started, by training different types of martial arts to kind of get where you were, those steps?
Yeah, thank you. It's obviously such a huge honor to be inducted into the Martial Arts Hall of Fame and having that. So I have been doing martial arts for probably about 28 years, and I have started off with boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai. I added into my styles with fitness and health and just everything that I was doing. And then I started to learn more different martial arts when I got here in the US, which was about 9.5, almost 10 years ago. And the fun thing about it is that I'm learning all these different styles. So Krav Maga, kickboxing, MDS, it's Master Defense Training Systems. I'm learning Kempo, Wing Chun, and just every style that I could. And I mean, you want to talk about rough and tough, training with some of the best, and we're training in, I mean, this is in the backyard on cement, and it's grueling. And that's why hand-to-hand combat is so important to me, because you don't want to end up on the ground, because if you end up on the ground, you're going to get hurt, and it's going to hurt like heck if you fall on the ground on cement. And so training with men and training with women and high executive protection, doing tactical training with knives and guns and weapons. And again, I just like to clarify, I never train with any kind of guns or weapons or knives or sticks or anything like that to harm another person. This is for self-defense. This is for self-protection, and to teach other people how to protect themselves.
Okay, so you kind of took everything you learned, molded it into your own, and now you want to use that. Like, how can I do this where it resonates with me?
Yeah.
You know, for your sole purpose, which I love. Because you're just kind of like, yeah, and I can coach that because I train that. I can coach that. I can do that. Yeah, this is what you do. But you're really passionate to the point where you're like, this is what I'm doing and why.
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
there's reasons for it.
And I really love being an executive protection officer because I protect high profile people, sometimes other celebrities as well, and VIPs, and it's men and women and children and families, and sometimes we travel and do different things. What I really love about it is I'm teaching people spatial awareness, I'm teaching people self-protection and self-defense. So if anything, there was a situation, then I would teach them how to protect their families, because we don't instinctually just know this. Yeah. I think men have a little bit more of an instinctual access to this than we do as women. And so I love training women where they're, my clients and my students are like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I never thought about, oh wow, does that really happen? Oh wow, could that happen? And I post, and some people think I may be a Debbie Downer because I post a lot of things on my social media, where somebody's attacking somebody, or somebody's grabbed their child, somebody's abducted, and all these things. And remember this is the biggest thing I can tell everybody. This can happen to you. Yeah. And people always say, oh, it won't happen to me. It'll never happen to me. Oh, no. And it can happen to you, and I pray to God it does not. So again, learning how home invasions, I teach people how to be prepared for a home invasion. So we prepare for earthquakes. Why don't we prepare for a home invasion? Because isn't this happening all day, every day now? Yeah. So what would we do? What do we have our family? Do they have a game plan? Do we know if the children's room is downstairs and someone breaks in and the children are at access before the parent can get to them? What's going to happen? Exactly. So these are things that are so important. We need to learn this stuff. And so that's what I teach. And I teach and educate people how to feel when there's something off. Trust your instinct, trust your intuition, especially as a woman. And being on your cell phone, being distracted, having headphones on while you're hiking, things like that. It seems basic, but it really is not basic. Not.
Yes, my dad was a sheriff back in Chicago, Cook County, so I was raised with kind of this really protective, control. When you're younger, you're like, oh, Dad, stop. But, now that I'm older and you live alone, I realize how observant I am. Yeah. And there's, to me, it's little things. To you, it would just kind of be like nature right now. I mean, you get out of the house, you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when I mention this to other people, their friends, they're like, wow, really? I never thought that would happen. I'm like, no, because the thing is, at the end of the day, your stature is also involved. Anything can happen that you can't actually control. But if you can, you have the opportunity to kind of control what you can in the moment. In the event, it's something where you're like, hey, I can do it. But, it's very, very, very important. Yeah. You never know. You might think people are watching. Yeah. And then they could be watching for a while. They're not going to do anything. They act like your best friend.
Yeah, people are filming, and that's the thing, too. Yeah. I really suggest that we get out there and we learn self-defense and self-protection, even if you're a man, because, again, if you don't know, what you don't know, you don't know. So if you don't know how to protect yourself from someone coming from behind you and putting you in a chokehold and with a knife in your hand and slit your throat within seconds. I mean, it is the reality of it. It's very brutal, and some people think I'm a little too much, but I'm so this is so much passion for me because I'm here to save lives, and I do have a lot of skills to teach people. And so if you want to learn self-defense and self-protection with me, I would love to teach you guys. I'm going to be doing some seminars out here in Las Vegas back in LA as well. So, but yeah, definitely get out there and learn some skills, everybody, because it's also fun too.
What I love about you is the fact that you're not going to judge them. I think one big fear about people is when they go to self-defense classes or even just a gym to work out. They're like, oh my goodness, everyone's staring at me, right? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it's so embarrassing, right? Like, and you're very much like, no, like, I get it. Like, I expect you to not know. Even if you do, then still, like, let's talk about it. Like, let me help you with what you don't know. And that's what's so amazing, because there's a very big intimidation factor.
Here it is.
With people in law enforcement and people who are in these positions where they're like, this is what you gotta do, right? It's very by the book, but you talk to people. You treat them like, kind of an equal, which I love that. This is the vibe that I'm getting, guys. So
thank you. And I'm glad you touched on that, Priscilla, because it is intimidating. I was scared to death when I went and started doing this. All the women were like all jacked and everyone was like big and strong and intimidating. And I was big and strong, and I guess I was intimidating too. But for me, it was just like, how did I feel when I walked into those doors? I had no idea. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I had been attacked. I had been through a domestic violence situation with my ex-husband, and I was scared for my life. And I was in trauma response and fight or flight. And so when people come into my classes, men, women, children, I love on them. And it's like some of the times we just even talk more than anything and then do drills, because I can share as much knowledge with you just by talking with you. And if you're not ready for that, and we're not ready to go into techniques or any kind of stuff like that, then we just talk. And so it is intimidating. And I welcome you to just embrace that and just go, you know what? You're going to come in, you're going to be loved. It's not all fighting, and it's not, no one's going to get hurt. It's not like that at all.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you feel when this happened to you? Or because some people may have come in after being assaulted or raped or, you know, or kidnapped or tortured. Like, there's a lot of people that come in at different spaces in their life. And so I always nurture and give that love to people that is deserved when they walk through the doors.
Because you never know what their story is, and they might not be ready to tell you those stories.
That's right.
So I think you have an element of counsel alongside with your class. You're just kind of like, all right, whatever, right? This is what you do. No, you're messing up, right? No. You understand that I don't have to know what happened.
Yeah.
But let's work through these things, and if I can be a part of that help for you in a less intimidating way.
Yeah.
And so do you kind of work with enforcement when it comes to victims, like hands-on? Do you have people reach out to you that are part of cases or higher ups kind of within enforcement?
I do. I have been working with survivors of domestic violence, human trafficking, unfortunately, sex trafficking and abuse situations and you name it. I mean, just horrific stuff. And that's also why I became a trauma and transformation counselor and coach, because I knew that it was needed. And again, it's pouring on the love to these people, because again, there's so much stuff that's gone on for them. So we have to love these people again. So yes, I do work with law enforcement. I do work with a lot of different cases and things like that. And so it's obviously very private, so I can only say so much when it comes to that for their privacy and respect of the families. So I definitely am there for people if they need it, and if they want to reach out and they've had an incident or a case where a family member has been injured or anything, or just reach out so that I can help and give them that information, or send them somewhere that they can get help as well. Other resources.
That's so amazing. And if they follow you on Instagram, they can tell that all your posts, you have a really big inspiration caption alongside of it, and all of them are completely different. They don't just touch base on your martial arts or other things. They also touch base with your daily life and also the other elements that you do, which is also acting, movies, premieres and things like that, and you also being kind of a celebrity host. So how did you reach that avenue from going from all of this, and because that's like already a huge job, that's already like, oh my goodness, like to snap from that to more of like the glitz and glamour, as what people would call it, the dichotomy of that can kind of be a little shaky.
Well, the fun thing about me is that I am a very big free spirit, and the Lioness Leo personality of me is once I accomplish something, I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Let's go, and so let's do something, and what else can I do? And that's why people always tell me too, your social media needs to be this and this, and it's like,
no.
My social media doesn't need to be anything than what it is.
Right, or what I want it to be, excuse me.
I just like, just be free and be fun, and like, and let people see your personality. And if you want to wear a bikini in your post and you want to do that, then great, just go express yourself. And again, I've never been the person where I'm like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. I'm like, if I'm good at it, I'll keep doing it until I get bored of it or I want to move on to something different. So I think that's kind of the rhythm of my life. And I believe too, because I sustained so many injuries from some accidents over the last couple of years, I had to really recreate myself, because I was in a wheelchair, I wasn't able to walk, and I've come out of a lot of adversity physically. And so for me, it was just like, what can I do with what I have right now? Yeah. And so my circumstances, I was getting very emotional. It's hard to contain someone like me. So when I'm down for the count, which I was really like, my mental health was suffering with depression and things like that. So I had to recreate myself and go, okay, you can still learn. You can learn knowledge, take in this, read books, listen to audios, educate yourself. If you can't use your lower half of your body, then you can use your upper half of your body. If you can't use that, then use your mind. So I just had to be creative. And so basically being in that position, it allowed me to just expand into this. And now that I'm physically somewhat active again, I am able to go back into the action acting now and do all these things and do my show Life Unleashed with TLC on my podcast, because my voice is still there. I just had to get my mental health back to where it needed to be, because I really felt for a little while I was down so bad that I wasn't able to express myself. I didn't have this inspiration coming out of me that I do again. So
nothing stimulating you to motivate yourself.
Yeah, it was pretty depressing. So, when you're injured and you're in physical pain every single day and emotional pain, those two combined together make for a disastrous outcome. So, especially for someone like myself with my personality. So, I feel so blessed and grateful that I'm back. Yeah. I feel like I have my mojo back.
Strong, and she's here. I'm a Leo too, so this is where I understand what you mean. When you sit there and you had all this you work for and you're like, no, I can't do anything. You just feel like,
caged
what
animal.
Am I doing? The life is over, right? The end of the world is falling down on you. But then I understand what you mean, but you have to kind of sit there and be like, okay, let's stop. Let me have one day where I cry and do all those emotions. But then let's kind of figure out, all right, well, this is what it is. Yeah. How can we make use of this? Because it's that, or we're going to sit here. Time's going to pass anyways. Yeah. Right. It's that fire in you that's like, well, I have two choices right now. It's either just stop and cry and nothing's going to change, or find something where I can take the time, sit and learn, do these things, and go out there and just attack. Right. Yeah. It's that attack that you kind of want, because you're like, my presence needs to be known. That whole Leo thing, right? You're like, hey.
I'm feeling this Leo right here. I knew it. We should have known by the orange.
The orange. See, it's perfect. It turns out to be absolutely meant to be, and I love this. So please tell the audience where they can get a hold of you, either if it's kind of someone with an action movie, maybe they would love to have you on there, or to get more information about your classes, your seminars, your coaching.
Thank you. Okay, so TLCUnleashed.com is my website. TLC Unleashed is my brand, Traci Lynn Cowan, and Tracy with an I. And you can also find me on a new platform for trauma and transformational coaching called heal.me. I'm also doing self-defense seminars and basically all over the world. So we've got some in Vegas, we have some in LA coming up, and Survival Unleashed classes, those are called, and tactical training self-defense classes. And I also have a lot of movies coming up right now. Who's Gonna Take Care of Me? Feature film. I'm a feature lead in that, one of the feature leads. Also a documentary of my own, another film of my own, and 2 books. And so we've got a lot of stuff coming up. If you need an action actress, someone to kick butt and have fun on set, I'm your girl. So I can also do a serious role too.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you dabble in stunts, because I know a lot of times they do a tactical thing. So I wasn't sure if that's something you're comfortable with, considering you don't really coach. Sorry, with tactical
I'm like
gear
loving
and
on
like that.
healing people,
right? And you're
like,
but I can be Lara Croft.
That's why I like
I love that. That's amazing. I'm so sad that we didn't have enough time to delve more into the roles that you play, but that's just another reason to have you back on again, so we can get the intro out the way, your fighting out the way, and we can just talk about life as an actress in your book. But with all this information, I'm sure people will meet you and just feel your energy. And there's one last question I always ask all of my guests because it kind of sums up the person. And it is there a philosophy that you live by?
Human kindness. We all need to contribute to this world. So no matter who you are, what you want to be, what you want to do, just be you. Always be you, true to yourself, because everybody wants to change you. Everybody wants to put things on you and attach things to you. Be free, be yourself, and always be kind to other people, because what you give is what you're going to receive back. So remember that, because it really is such a big key in this lifetime.
Perfect. See? Is that everything? Human kindness. I love hearing the answers. It could be short, it could be long, but it kind of sums up your whole interview. It shows what your drive really is, the purpose for what you're doing, and what mark you want to leave on the world, your own legacy.
Thank
you.
I
absolutely love that, and I'm so honored to have you be sitting here in the hot seat, especially being a host yourself. It's like, oh my God, they're willing to be on my show when they have their own, It's a whole stigma that you have.
You are great.
Thank
you are amazing. She is natural, and you just have a beautiful personality, and your spirit shines through. And so
thank you.
It's an honor to be here. So thank you for having me and taking the time.
So much coming from a powerful woman. Like, oh my God, you inspire me, and I can't wait to keep in contact.
Me too.
I'm going to be cheering you on, supporting you, and you're always welcome back on this show. So you got the email address, Maria, you got her now.
Priscilla, I'd love to have you on my show next. So let's do that. Keep this wealth.
You gotta keep it going. Amazing. Well, everyone, Traci Lynn Cowan, TLC Unleashed. When we come back, we're going to hop on to another guest who is no less amazing, because that's all we have here in the hot seat. So make sure you don't go anywhere.
I can already feel you judging me, and not for what I've done in the past, but for what I'm about to do. I had what mattered, and I got careless. Like, I don't deserve more. I don't deserve sympathy. I don't deserve to be here.
Where the hell are you? Why aren't you answering your phone?
Jenna! What is the matter with you?
Someone once told me, you may not be everybody's cup of tea, but you're somebody's shot of whiskey.
Excuse me, ma'am. My car ran out of gas and I left my wallet at home. Could you please spare a couple dollars so I can refuel my vehicle?
I literally have nothing.
What's it gonna take to get you to join a program?
Get about a dog! If Jesus wanted you to have a dog, he would have blessed you with a bowl and a leash now, wouldn't he?
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
Got Films is a full-service production company that provides motion picture quality content and production services for use in the film and TV industry. Looking for a seasoned crew, high-quality equipment, or other production services for your film, TV, commercial, corporate convention, sports, news, or interview project? Your search stops here. Some of our projects include NASCAR, American Restoration, Pawn Stars, Counting Cars, Top Chef, BattleBots, Forge and Fire, and Street Outlaws. We have also produced over 60 feature films and documentaries. We're ready for all your needs. Whatever your project, whatever your budget, big or small, Got Films got you. GotFilms.com.
Hi guys, and welcome back. I always tell you guys that my guests are going to be amazing, and it proves it right here with the interviews. It always goes swimmingly, and I love when guests are very, very open with me. It just makes everything so much better. Now we are going to switch gears to an amazing person alongside in the film industry. Now he has a great resume. He's a lot of training. He's got a lot to talk about. So everyone, please welcome actor, filmmaker, producer, writer, Michael Forsch. Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you're a hugger.
Sure, might as well.
Please take a seat. Okay. Welcome to the hot seat.
I'm used to being in that chair.
Yeah, I was going to say, everyone's probably used to being here. Now they're like, oh my God, is this what it's like? Like, oh my goodness.
I'm in the interview seat. Well, I'm not usually an interviewer, but I'm used to being in the director's
I'm telling people what to do.
Yeah.
But amazing. So I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad that you're willing to not sit in this chair today, just for a little bit. But first things first is that you've been kind of doing this for a while, and what is impressive to me is that you kind of started on the stage.
I did.
Theater, being mentored by, Broadway performers and in the dance world. So tell me a little bit about your journey, where you're from, what was the beginning like for you?
Well, I'm all about honesty, so I will get into that, but I actually got my start doing TV film as a kid, doing shows like Wonder Years and 30-something. And then I stopped doing that as I got a little bit older, and then I got bit by the theater bug. So like 15, 16, I started doing musical theater, and I just didn't stop. And I went from there to being a professional dancer at 18, and I basically worked as a professional dancer for the next 15 years or so.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's what ended up bringing me to Las Vegas, actually, was being on stage on the Las Vegas Strip.
Right. That's every performer's dream, whether they're a cirque performer, they're acrobat, or they did theater and they want to keep up the, thing going. And it's amazing because my life started in theater. I won't say as well, but I understand what the hustle is like. Yeah. Being a performer and having that type of schedule and where to next, the hopping and who do I need to know and being what theater likes. And so you kind of were in the musicals. Like, what was your main primary type of dance? Contemporary, jazz, tap?
So I started out actually as like a commercial dancer, like doing like hip hop and stuff, but in the 90s. So it was a very different style back then. And I actually ended up getting, I was performing in a community show somewhere out for something, I don't know, something like a fair or something, we'll call it that. And a ballet teacher saw me and was like, that guy can actually dance, which at the time was a little rare. There's more male dancers now, but not as many as there should be. And she was like, hey, Erin Holt, she's an amazing ballet teacher. If you're in California sometime, go check out her studio. She's a really nice lady. She took me under her wing and started training me in classical dance. So ballet and some jazz and stuff like that. And so I started kind of on this one side, and then I went on the other, and I have a huge love for both styles of commercial dance, ballet, musical theater, jazz. That's like kind of what I morphed into as a professional.
Yeah, what was it about dancing and pushing your limits that really kept you going with it for so long?
It's one of those things where like you don't realize how much you love something until it almost gets taken away. I was a pre-professional, but I was training a lot at the time, and I hurt my back, and pretty bad, and I had to do some rehab doing Pilates and stuff, and the doctors are like, oh, you might have to stop dancing. And I was like, I can't, I love it too much. I'm super passionate. And I brought that passion to bring that passion and love for the arts. I kind of just really fell in love with the arts as a dancer, and that type of work ethic and mindset that you have to be a professional dancer. It's not as glamorous as being an actor or a singer. Yeah. Maybe you don't get noticed, or you're kind of like filling up the stage as much. Yeah. Although there's more emphasis on the dancers now with like So You Think You Can Dance and all that, so the dancers are well known. But a lot of times the focus of a show is on the singer or the actor or whatever, and the dancers are kind of supporting. So to have that mindset of like how hard you have to work really helped me in the rest of my career.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. So what show brought you to Vegas?
So there's actually a show called Shag with a Twist. It premiered in LA, and they decided to bring it to Las Vegas. And I had done it in LA originally. It was like the original cast, as part of the original cast, and I helped bring it here to Las Vegas. So I moved here in 2006. I had no idea what it was like to be in Las Vegas, and I was like, oh, I'll be here for 6 months. And then 15 years later, here we are. Or what is it, like 18 years? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
So Shag with a Twist, that show lasted for about a year and a half. And then I went into a very famous show, which everybody knows is Jubilee, which sadly closed in 2016. But I was in Jubilee for 7 years, from 2007 to 2014.
Yeah, the biggest show. Everyone who was anyone, especially a lot of showgirls, Jubilee is like the show.
Yeah.
When it was a thing. But I think the things that you're pinpointing is what it's like to be in the prime of a sport as an athlete. Dancers are no less athletes than the NFL or anything else. And having that mindset of like any little thing, even me performing, when I go out on stage, something can happen, and like that's it. So what do you do, right? But what's great about you is that you also started kind of in film. You dabbled in both, where I like learned that I started was only stage trained, like degree, all that stuff, and then flipping the switch and trying to go into film and television. And I would love to hear how you kind of went back, because every day the film industry changes. I mean, everything, entertainment in general, stage, film. But after doing this and you're getting, settled in what it's like to be a performer, a stage performer, and then switching gears to film, television, commercial, it's totally different. And people don't understand what the difference is. But what was that like for you?
So I finished my dance career, and I kind of looked around and I was like, okay, so what's next? And I had the amazing opportunity to audition and be cast in a feature film. It was my first feature film with the Mahal Empire, Mahal brothers, Michael and Sonny, a film called Last Day of School. And I had done like maybe 2 other film projects, but that really was like, oh, this kind of rekindled something in me as a performer. And I was like, I really, really enjoyed being on set. And it kind of, I just got bit by this bug of back as being a film actor. And I was like, okay, this is it. I'm doing this. And so from there, I, consistently working short films, feature films, whatever. There's a lot of films I don't want to, it's like I could go forever and we don't have the time. It doesn't matter. So from there, I was like, indie film is so different from Hollywood. The films that and the shows and stuff that I did in LA is way different. It's a way different feel for being in the indie film. And I actually really enjoy it because there's a lot more improvisation, problem solving, and just trying to make do with what you have around and what you can do. So like the budgets are never as high. You never have a full crew. You're always dealing with time limits and different things. And so I was like, I have stories that I want to tell, and no one's going to make these stories unless it's me. So I started out with my writing and directing partner, and we produced our first film called Burrow, which actually ended up winning Best Short Film at the Hollywood Dreams International Film Festival. And that sort of was like, oh my God, we can do this. So since then, fully on the production side as well as the acting side, and just kind of on both sides of the camera. I've spent the last like 6, 7, 8 years doing that.
And that's amazing that you've been doing it here in Las Vegas.
Yes,
You're being
absolutely.
a big contribution to the film industry
Absolutely.
that's building, and which I love. And there's only a couple of people that I've met or heard of that prefer indie over the big Hollywood feature, the mainstream, like the celebrity. And I always find it interesting because everyone has a different reason as to why.
Right.
Right? Because they feel like indie really touches base in a deeper way with less stigma that they have to live up to, right? That they can really just have more, a little bit of freedom. If they want to go in a darker direction, they can. It's just, I've heard different reasons, and it's the grit of indie that really attracts a lot of people. And a lot of those people end up being writers, and they end up being people that are creatives and really contribute in their own area of film. And
yeah, I mean, it comes down to creative freedom. And don't get me wrong, if Hollywood comes knocking on my door, there's no way I'm saying no. Because, having an unlimited budget or a huge budget really is a cool thing. Like, it's such a cool experience to be able to walk on set and not be worried, like, oh my gosh, are we going to have enough money to, finish the film, or who's going to pay for post-production? That it's all done. Like, I would absolutely love to work with a studio. However, creative freedom, being able to do the stories that I want to do without input from somebody, be like, well, no, because you can't say this or you can't do that because of specific sponsorships, or our algorithm says that you should be doing this or that. I can just tell my story, and hopefully I've researched enough to know that the story that I want to tell is going to sell and make money. That's a whole other thing. But creative freedom is a huge thing on the indie side, and there's so many huge independent directors that now have come over to the studio side that have been hugely successful because they developed their own point of view and their own way of telling a story that really resonates with the studio audiences.
So what motivates you to write and create? What's that story in you where you want to be like, this is what I see in my films?
Oh man, what motivates me, I wake up in the morning and I'm doing it. I'm just doing whatever's the next step on whatever project I'm on. Like, I'm so passionate about it that I just love doing it, and I put everything I can into the work, into the filmmaking. And whether that's pitching my next project, writing the next script, tracking down the composer to finish the score, like I'm just all over the place, just like constantly checking with people, trying to be the engine that drives everything together. And I think that's innately like just a part of my personality. Like I've always been a good self-motivator. I've never needed somebody to be like, okay, you got to do this now. I'm like, yep, let's go. We're doing it. Let's make something happen. And I think that for me, that does come from being a dancer and just doing the hard work. Yeah. And so like I bring that mentality of I'm willing to put in the hours and the time and grit my teeth and sink my teeth in and not let go and see it through to the end, which is a very difficult thing. And that's why a lot of people don't end up finishing their projects or something, because adversity gets in the way, and then they kind of just lose track, or they get distracted, or family, or blah, 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 blah. So I think if I had two superpowers, it would be tenacity and patience.
Yeah, and discipline. I think that's what I'm getting a lot with you, is discipline and holding yourself accountable for something that you started. And there's a lot of people that lack that, which is interesting, because in this industry, entertainment in general, you need a lot of it, because you don't have set hours most of the time. You go home and you continue to work. So it's up to you to continue to work, because no one's going to breathe down your neck. You're either going to do it or you're not, right? And that's kind of like, well, now you have to live with not finishing a project, telling people about the project, not saying, okay, didn't finish, right? And that's absolutely just across the board amazing. And I love actors like you that share that without me having to ask those things, because it kind of shows what drives you to continue to wake up every day and say, no, this is what I am, this is what I'm doing. So going along that, what do you want to be known for? What is your legacy?
That's a good, an artist in the performance arts, like across the boards. I love doing all of it. I like to say that as much as I love producing, especially my own projects and stuff, if I could literally just be on set and know my lines and be in front of the camera and do that, like, I feel like that's my happiest place. But at the same time, I say that and I know it's a freaking lie, because I can't help myself. I'm on set and I see like problems that need solving and stuff, and I'm just like, I know how I do this, but it's not my job. So I'm going to sit here and wait for my turn to do my stuff. But I kind of see it all, and I'm very motivated to help in and do a million things. But I do take it very seriously when I'm on set, unless it's my own production that I'm producing, directing, and acting in. I take that role as an actor very seriously, and I'm like, I might suggest something to the director, but there's, I'm very careful not to step on people's toes. So, hard answer, I would have to say, it's still a three-way tie. I'd say actor, director, producer, probably in that order. Final answer.
Yeah. Well, that's great though. Everyone has a different type of legacy they want to leave, a different type of mark they want to put. Some people don't want to continue for a long time. They're here for a short time. They want to gig and that's it. But I like, because you're passionate about it, you want to contribute being a presence always. And I understand what you're saying. A lot of people don't know the boundaries of knowing your place, of what your role is that day. Yeah. Right? Outside of this, we could be so many different things. Oh, I do this, I do that. But in film, everyone has their ego, right? Mm-hmm. But who am I right now? This is the hat I have to be in. So if it comes to like my role, yes, let's talk about it. But if not, you're just sitting there biting your tongue like, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. You're like, I don't know. Don't know. Not to put yourself in the hot seat, no pun intended. Hey. But I love that for you, and I love how it shows, and I tell people this, how much coming from the stage world, the theater world, that, show to show, when you're younger and you're more in your more training years, when everything's very, very, you're acclimating to this industry, how it carries on with how you handle yourself, switching gears. Yeah, people get taken away by the lights and the cameras and stardom and Hollywood, that they forget what is the purpose, what is the job, what is the craft, and you really keep that really strong within you, and you're like, this is what it is, and I'm going to hold on to the discipline, the work ethic, what it takes to do this type of job. Isn't to just wake up and say I'm a star. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of hands, it's a lot of things that go into play, that when people watch movies like Marvel, they don't see those, they don't appreciate every single body on the set and in the room. So I applaud you for all the things that you're doing and you're contributing to film. Now, the whole thing, a word about Las Vegas, is that, it's a second Hollywood, right? And you've been here for a little bit, longer than I have. How have you viewed how the Las Vegas film industry is progressing?
That's a very good question. So, Las Vegas does have some issues with, it's positive and negative with Los Angeles being so close. There's a lot of, like, Los Angeles comes over here a lot to film and do lots of projects, but they're not always necessarily using all of Las Vegas talent. Yeah. And I understand, I get it. As a casting director and a director, I fully understand why they bring in talent from LA or from New York or from whatever, because literally LA and New York is such a huge market, and they have the best actors in the world. They're is unbelievably talented. But I would love to challenge LA producers and filmmakers to give Las Vegas talent, crew, and actors and everything else the opportunity to at least audition for these roles. Maybe we're not auditioning for the lead or supporting, but give us a chance to do the day player role or the under 5 line or anything. It does happen, it does. But could it happen more? Absolutely. Yeah. And hopefully when they have more studios coming here, the rumor mill is flying with certain Disney and some of the other guys that possibly coming in. Maybe there will be more opportunity for some actors to come in and be sort of like they do in Atlanta. There's a thriving acting community. So I see for the future, if we're able to build that up and these studios do come here, we'll be able to bring up this acting community to an even better height than what it is now. Like currently, if you want to be cast in some of these studio pictures, you literally have to be in LA or pretend to be in LA to get these auditions to cast. And I get the stigma. Like, literally the talent pool is huge and you can get whatever you want from LA, and it's a 4-hour drive. But you're going to save so much more money, and you know, it's not that crazy to think you can find a Las Vegas talent who can come in and do the day player role, do the small supporting role, and save you time and money to travel rather than travel somebody out here. So you know, that would be my big push for outside producers, is like, give us a chance, like hold a casting call here in Vegas.
Yeah.
There's I can give you a ton of actors in town that are amazing, and they would love to be a part of your films.
Exactly. You have to look. I tell people, I mean, in Vegas, you have to look, but there is really great talent here.
Absolutely.
You know, Vegas does have a stigma, and I've experienced it. I'm sure you had, doing a lot of indie films in Vegas, but there are those people that deserve that chance. They work for it. We shouldn't have to live in LA with like double the rent prices and be against millions of other people doing the same thing, because along with a bigger pool means that less of an opportunity to be a part, whatever it is, on that set. Yeah. Here, if you know there's big things, chances are if you kind of dabbled in, you'll find a place, or you heard about it, or you know who's cast, right? But I 100% agree with you, and I'm truly manifesting that will come true for us, because since I moved here and since you moved here, you've just seen how it's just on the rise. And you had this whole thought, yeah, I'm not going to be here for long, right? I got to get back to LA. That's where it is, right? But this is just to get my feet wet, to feel what it's like. And then all of a sudden you're like, there's stuff. Yeah. Stuff is happening. Like, I'm working all the time. Like, that's all we can ask for, right? And then taking each day by day. So I love that. And I love your energy, and I love your view on film. And so I ask this question to all of my guests, and I'm sure you've probably overheard me ask the question to my former guests, but is there a philosophy that you live by?
I mean, something I'd love to share with the audience is, you know, be an artist. So you don't have to be a glamorous TV star. You don't have to be on the Las Vegas Strip as an entertainer, but just being an artist and inspiring other people, whether that's painting in your living room or gardening can be an art. Like, find something artistic for yourself to do, and that is so rewarding. And I feel like so many people just are depressed, they feel trapped in their lives, and they don't know what to do or how to make themselves happy. And I'm like, art brings happiness. So find some kind of art, find your art, and become an artist. Even if it's never gonna see the light of day, it truly does bring worthwhile life happiness.
Yeah, I love that, because that's so you. I love hearing the answers. I'm always just like, it just goes hand in hand and sums up everything that you just talked about and what your passion is, why you wake up and do what you do, and how you are going to give back. And everyone's different, even though it seems like we're all the same, we're not. But please tell the audience where they can see some of your acting. I know you have a reel on your IMDb, but I'm sure some of your films, your indie films, are out for viewing.
Sure, absolutely. Recently, the feature film by Indie Film Factory, Darkest of Lies, is now out on Tubi TV. It just released this year. One of the lead characters in that. Currently, there's a film on the film festival circuit called Grief that I produced. Let's see, what else is there for you guys to watch? I see, there's a bunch of short films that I'm not sure. Like, I know there's a few films with Joey Traffi Entertainment that are around that you can watch me doing on some of his trailers and stuff. Currently, a few of my projects are still in post-production, so I can talk about them, but they're still being shopped and being sold, etc., so they're not viewable. But if you want to see what I'm up to, just find me on social media. It's pretty easy, at Michael Forsch, pretty much across all the platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can add me on Snapchat, but I don't think I've actually used that in forever. TikTok, I'm on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's just goofing out.
Yeah, but they can reach out to you on all those things, I'm
Absolutely,
sure.
and I'm
touch base.
I totally welcome, aspiring filmmakers, aspiring actors. If you guys have any questions, I'm totally open book. I try to help people as much as I can. So if you do reach out to me with questions, I try to get back to you and answer as much as possible.
Yeah, that's amazing. And are you always open to meeting new actors? I know you
100%.
have film in the making and writing all the time. Your brain's constantly stimulated with what story can I tell next? And I love that. But I'm sure that a lot of actors will probably ask you, can I send you a reel? Like, what's your email address? Can I send you my resume?
Sure.
Things like that.
Yeah, people do it all the time via Instagram. I mean, it's usually like one of those things where they can send it and I'm like, yeah, I'm not casting right now, but definitely look out. Usually I'll put out like what I'm looking for on the social media platforms, and then feel free to submit to this place or that place, but yeah, send me your stuff. I'll take a look if there's something in there.
Yeah, amazing. Michael Forsch, everyone. Prominent, everything about art, film, and the like, and here in Las Vegas. He's one of the people that I always talk about where, you have to find them. There are great people out there who are doing it for the craft, for the passion of the art, and just taking it day by day and inspiring others like myself, and I'm sure everybody in this room and all the viewers back at home. So everyone, please look out for him, search him, Google him like I did, and he's gonna pop right back up for you to learn everything about him. And his story is absolutely amazing, and I love his energy and how inspiring he is by art and how inspiring he is to artists. So, Michael Forsch, everyone, thank you so much for being on the hot seat. When we come back, as you know, I'm never done talking because that's all I do. So I will see you guys after the break, so don't go anywhere.
Come with me now. Come with me now.
Looky, I've got Hooky. Tie her up.
But shouldn't we just kill her?
No, tie her up.
It was so good. I just got back from my trip. I have the greatest story for you.
Looks like it's you and me, Hook. You wanna play? Let's play.
Yeah, no one really knows about it, but since I'm in pretty tight with Ray, I usually know what's going on.
Oh, right.
Think I got it in the bag, too. Oh, don't want to jinx it, though. All right, Kyle, I'll see you in the meeting. Hey, Ray? Yeah, I was just thinking about my new office and... Oh, sorry, was I interrupting?
Oh, no, of course not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, have you met Ellen here?
No, I haven't. Are you new?
I've been here for 5 years.
Oh, that's great. Welcome aboard. Talk to you later.
Isn't he the greatest?
Shout, let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on, I'm talking to you, so come on. Shout.
ever dream of sharing your views and knowledge with the world? It should be easy, right? Just turn on your phone, talk into the camera, upload to your social media, then sit back and wait to go viral. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. Not only that you need a great message, you also need a video production as well as a quality sound and lighting. If that's not enough, you still need to make sure that video's description, title, and thumbnails are optimized by SEO and search algorithms. What a hassle! Don't worry, Social Media Shows is here to help. With our years of production online experience and professional studio, we can remove all the technical roadblocks out of your way so that you can focus on the message you want to share with the whole world. We have production plans that fit any budget. Visit Social Media Shows today at socialmediashows.com and schedule your free pilot audition today.
Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Skoda with Social Media Shows. Well, I thank all of you for your support through these last several years, and it's been a lot of fun. We've given people a voice they never had before. Now, Social Media Shows is always collaborating with our veterans to help them do things and help out the veterans who are struggling today. And we teamed up with GI Connections, connecting veterans with resources. So please consider helping and donating to this great cause because we're always doing things for veterans. So GI Connections, Social Media Shows, and you is what makes the world a better place. Once again, Joseph Skoda, proud United States Air Force veteran.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Hot Seat. I am your host Priscilla Moy, and we are live in studio here at Social Media Shows. That was an amazing show with two amazing guests. Every week I tell you guys that I'm inspired by my guests, but it's actually really true. I'm not just saying that to save face or the fact that there's cameras in front of me. I say that because as you're watching the interview, you see how my guests open up and they really kind of dig deep to what drives them to do what they do. And I never pre-write questions. I research my guests. I have an idea of what I want to touch base on, but I love just kind of asking those questions and getting my guests to open up and just literally open up, not only to me, but to you guys. Because as me and Traci talked about, a lot of times people love to be seen, they love to be heard, and they want to find the people that understand them, that care enough to ask them why they do what they do. Like, what is it? No judgment aside. And that's the kind of environment that I love having here on the Hot Seat. So if you are someone that has a story to tell, that feels that way, that either feels like they have all this passion to do what they do and they just want people to know, the Hot Seat is for you. So please always email admin@socialmediashows.com, your bio, which show that you want to be on, because there are so many other shows and not just mine, but if you want to be on mine, please mention the Hot Seat with Priscilla and I would love to have you on. Also, please, if you are someone who does deal with abuse or substance abuse, any of those types of different things, please always contact Traci or other help hotlines. Just know that there are people always there for you that are there to support you and will never, never, never judge you. I think Traci is touching base on a lot of very sensitive topics that most of the time a lot of us as hosts are very reluctant to kind of bring up, and I never want to trigger anybody, but in the event that you are going through some things, just know there are women and other people, not just men, but like men and women, people like us that are really here for you, that have your best interests in mind, that we are rooting for you, that it is possible to be sitting in a place like this, like Traci, telling her story and being able to give back with stuff when, at a time when she felt she could not, that she had nothing to give back, and now she does. And I'm sure every single one of you, no matter who you are, what you've gone through, just know that there are people like Traci that are willing to take the time and help you through those things. So, with all that happiness aside, Thank you guys so much always for supporting this channel, viewing, liking, commenting, emailing to be on it. Every little bit helps. I love meeting people. I love sitting down talking to you one-on-one and sharing it with the world, because that's all that we're here to do. It's marketing, people. So please, please, please always look forward to the next episode. These episodes will continue to stream live throughout the week up until our next live show, which will be next Wednesday at 3 p.m. everywhere we're streaming. We are on Spotify, so there's no excuse. I know you guys have Spotify, you have YouTube, you have Facebook, you have the internet, so you can go on socialmediashows.com and you can watch all of us here do our thing, do our shows, and watch me in particular. I'm just kidding. But anyways, see you next week here at Social Media Shows at 3 p.m. I am Priscilla Moy.